My name is Carrie S. Cabrera, and I was 29 years old when my boyfriend gave me two choices: accept him going on a supposed boys' trip with 3 women, or become single. I chose option 3. I showed his father the messages, and together we packed every belonging Caleb owned. Until that week, I believed I had built a stable life. I worked as an electrical engineer. Caleb was 26 and worked in marketing. We had been together for 4 years and lived in a beautiful 3-bedroom condo owned by his father, Robert. Robert was retired military and ran a contracting business. He believed in loyalty, hard work, and direct conversations. He gave us a discounted rent because he trusted me. Once, while we shared a beer on the balcony, he said, "I'm glad Caleb found a woman with a backbone. You remind me of myself." I took it as a compliment. I did not realize how important that relationship would become. Last Tuesday, Caleb came home carrying the frantic energy he always had when he wanted something expensive. He sat beside me and ran his fingers through my hair. "Babe, Mason and Jordan are planning a Miami trip next month. Just the guys. Beach, cocktails, 5 days away from work." "That sounds fun." "The flight is expensive. Could we put it on your Sapphire card for the points? I'll repay half when my bonus arrives." I agreed. I always agreed. That evening, I booked his flight and convinced myself I was being supportive. 2 days later, Caleb was showering while I watched television in the living room. His iPad lit up on the coffee table. I normally ignored his notifications. Then I saw the preview. "Kayla Jim. Tell her whatever you want. Just bring those black shorts. I'm not sleeping on the couch this time." My stomach turned cold. The phrase, "tell her whatever you want," erased every reason I might have had to respect his privacy. I unlocked the iPad. The passcode had not changed in 3 years. The group chat was named Miami Mayhem. The participants were Caleb, Mason, Jordan, Kayla, Brittany, and Tessa. This was not a boys' trip. It was 3 men and 3 women sharing a 3-bedroom Airbnb. Kayla was paired with Caleb. I scrolled upward. Caleb had told me they were staying at a small hotel near South Beach. In the chat, he and Kayla discussed sharing a room. Then I found the messages about me. Caleb: "Carrie keeps asking about the itinerary. She acts like my mother." Kayla: "Does the bank account know she's being played?" Caleb: "Stop. She's useful. She paid for the flight, so I saved $400. Another message appeared beneath it. Caleb: "She's so vanilla. She would never survive Miami. I need a break from playing house with Ms. Safety." Kayla replied, "I'll make sure you forget her name." Caleb answered, "I already have." I sat motionless in the living room. Useful, vanilla, Ms. Safety. He was not only planning to betray me, he was making me finance it while laughing about my loyalty. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to my phone. When Caleb walked out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, he found me sitting on the couch with the television turned off. "Why is it so quiet?" he asked. I was thinking about Miami. His smile remained effortless. "What about it?" "Where are you staying?" "A boutique hotel near South Beach." "You're certain?" He frowned. "Yes. Why are you interrogating me?" "Because I know Kayla is going." Caleb froze. I continued. "And Brittany. And Tessa. I know about the Airbnb. I know you're sharing a room." His panic lasted only seconds, then anger replaced it. "You went through my messages?" "I saw a notification about Kayla sleeping with you. You violated my privacy." "I saw everything, Caleb. You called me useful. You mocked me for paying for your flight." He crossed his arms. "You're exaggerating. Kayla is a friend. It is cheaper to share the house." "You told her you had already forgotten my name." "That was a joke." "You planned to sleep with her." "Nothing has happened yet." Yet. The word revealed more than he intended. Then he stepped closer and lifted 2 fingers. I'm going to Miami. You have 2 choices. Trust me and stop acting insecure, or refuse and become single. He smiled as though he had won. Then he grabbed his gym bag and walked out. The door slammed behind him. Caleb believed I was terrified of losing him. He had forgotten that every ultimatum contains an option the person giving it cannot control. I picked up my phone. Then I called his father. I called Robert before Caleb's car had even left the parking garage. He answered on the second ring. Carrie? Everything all right? His voice carried the easy warmth of someone expecting a normal conversation. I need to come over, I said. It's about Caleb, and it's about the condo. The warmth vanished. Is he hurt? No, physically he's fine, but I found something you need to see. There was a brief silence. Come by. Robert lived 20 minutes away, in a house he had built himself. When I arrived, he was standing in the garage, beside an old lawnmower, wiping grease from his hands. He studied my face. Coffee or a beer? Neither. That answer made him straighten. We sat at the kitchen table. I placed the screenshots between us. I was planning to marry your son, I said. But this morning, he told me I could either accept him going to Miami with 3 women or become single. Robert's eyebrows drew together. He told his mother it was a boys' trip. It isn't. I unlocked my phone and handed it to him. Read from the top. Robert read in silence. His expression changed slowly. Concern became disbelief. Disbelief became anger. Then he reached the messages where Caleb mocked me. She's useful, Ms. Safety. Robert's jaw tightened. But the message that broke him was not about me. Caleb had written, I can't ask Dad for money. He has those outdated morals. He thinks hard work solves everything. It's pathetic. Robert read it twice. Then he removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. He called me pathetic. His voice sounded hollow. He called me useful and you pathetic, I said quietly. He is using my card to fund the trip and your condo as the place he returns to afterward. Robert stood and walked toward the window. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he turned back. The lease is month to month now. Yes. And the car? You co-signed it. He nodded slowly. The wounded father disappeared. In his place stood the contractor who had spent decades dealing with broken agreements. Carrie, you have treated him better than he deserved. I'm done, Robert. What are you planning? He gave me 2 choices. Robert's eyes hardened. I'm choosing a third. He grabbed his truck keys. Let's go. We drove back separately. When we reached the condo, Robert brought empty boxes from the truck. There was no shouting, no broken furniture, no clothes thrown from windows. We worked carefully. Only pack what belongs to him, Robert said. If you bought it, it stays. I packed Caleb's clothes, shoes, and gym equipment. Robert boxed his books, electronics, and framed photographs. The work felt surreal. His own father and the woman he had mocked were quietly removing him from the life he believed would always wait for him. 2 hours later, the condo felt larger. Caleb's clothes were gone from the closet. His expensive grooming products disappeared from the bathroom. The decorative objects he insisted made the apartment look sophisticated were stacked inside Robert's truck. I wrote 3 sentences on a sheet of notebook paper. You gave me 2 choices. I picked option 3. Your father has your things. I left the note on the kitchen island beside his spare key. Robert paused at the door. He'll try to talk his way back in. He's blocked. He can be persuasive when he panics. He no longer exists in my life. Robert gave me a firm handshake. The apology he could not speak was in his grip. I'm taking the boxes to my garage. He can stay in his old room until he figures himself out. Then he drove away. I poured a small glass of whiskey and sat in the silence. For the first time in 4 years, I did not have to calculate how Caleb would react. I did not have to protect his feelings. I only had to breathe. Caleb returned 2 hours later. I was not there. I had gone to a friend's apartment because I knew he would create a scene. The security camera captured everything. He entered still carrying his gym bag, irritation already on his face. Then he noticed the echo. He walked into the living room, turning in circles. The photographs were gone. His blankets were gone. The closet was empty. He picked up the note. His face twisted. Then he screamed. It was not heartbreak. It was rage. He called me. Blocked. He tried again. Blocked. Then he called Robert. Robert later told me the conversation lasted less than a minute. Your boxes are in my driveway, he said. Rain is expected tonight, so collect them. Caleb began shouting. Robert cut him off. And do not bring that iPad into my house. I know what you used it for. Then he hung up. That evening, Caleb posted a photograph from his childhood bedroom. The caption read, Trash took itself out. Finally free. Miami isn't ready for me. He still went on the trip. He had to. Canceling would have meant admitting that I had been the structure holding his life together. But I had already canceled the flight charged to my card. Caleb bought a last-minute ticket at nearly 3 times the price and pushed his own credit limit to the edge. He went to Miami, determined to prove he was still the prize. Reality did not cooperate. Kayla slept with him the first night. By the second, she was openly flirting with other men at the pool. When Caleb protested, she laughed. We're not dating. You wanted a break from Ms. Safety, remember? That night, Caleb brought someone else back to the room Caleb had helped pay for. Caleb slept on the couch. He spent 5 days surrounded by people who wanted a party, not a man collapsing beneath the consequences of his own choices. When he returned home, his belongings were still stacked in Robert's garage. He had no apartment, no money, no relationship, and for the first time, no woman waiting to rescue him. For the next 6 weeks, I became a ghost. I did not ask mutual friends what Caleb was doing. I did not check his social media from a hidden account. I did not search for photographs from Miami. Silence was expensive at first. It cost me the urge to defend myself, the temptation to see whether he regretted losing me, and the instinct to rescue him from consequences he had deliberately chosen. But the return was peace. I threw myself into work. There was an electrical infrastructure project I had neglected because most evenings had been consumed by Caleb, complaining about coworkers, money, or how predictable our life felt. Without him draining the oxygen from every room, I focused. My manager noticed. Within a month, I received a promotion and a substantial raise. My savings began growing again now that I was no longer covering Caleb's impulsive purchases, gym fees, and vague promises to repay me after his next bonus. I slept better. I exercised regularly. I moved from Robert's condo into a smaller apartment closer to work. Robert had decided to sell the unit, saying he did not want to keep walking through rooms filled with memories of what his son had become. The first attempt to pull me back came through Brittany. She had helped organize the Miami trip. Her message arrived on a Sunday morning. Carrie, I know you're upset, but Caleb is in a terrible place. He's staying at a motel because Robert won't let him live at home. You can't abandon him like this. Abandon him? As though Caleb had not planned to betray me and demanded that I finance it. I blocked Brittany. Then Mason contacted me, then Jordan. Each message carried the same expectation. They had helped break him, and now they wanted Ms. Safety to repair him. I blocked every number. When the digital pressure failed, Caleb appeared in person. It happened on a Tuesday evening in the parking garage beneath my office. I had just unlocked my car when I heard hurried footsteps behind me. Carrie, wait! I turned. Caleb stood several feet away. The polished man I remembered was gone. His hair was uneven, his eyes exhausted, and he wore old sweatpants with a faded hoodie that had once belonged to me. "You're difficult to find," he said, forcing a weak smile. "You're blocked. After 4 years, you won't even have one conversation? You gave me a choice. I made it." He stepped closer. "This has gone too far. My father won't speak to me. He says I have to repay the car loan or he's taking it back. You turned him against me." "I showed him what you wrote." "I was venting." "You called him pathetic." "I was angry." "You called me useful." His face tightened. "Carrie, nothing happened in Miami." I looked at him silently. He corrected himself. "Nothing meaningful." That was the closest Caleb could come to honesty. "Kayla was a mistake," he continued. "She treated me horribly. I spent the whole trip thinking about you." "You spent the trip checking your bank account." His eyes filled with tears. "I miss you." "No, you miss the condo, the credit card, and the woman who solved every problem." "That's not true." He reached toward my arm. I stepped back. "Do not touch me." The tears came faster. "I love you. Please. I'm staying in a motel. I have nowhere else to go. Just let me come home." "There is no home for you to return to." He froze. "What?" I moved. "Robert is selling the condo." His face went pale. "You erased everything." "No. You did that when you planned the trip and laughed about using me." The sadness vanished. Anger replaced it so quickly that I almost admired the honesty. "You are petty and vindictive," he snapped. "You think you're better than me because you have a stable job and money." I think I'm done. "You're boring, Carrie. You will always be boring. Kayla was right about you." I smiled. For the first time, the insult had no power. "You're right. I pay my bills. I keep my promises. I stay loyal. I treat people with respect. To someone like you, that is boring." I opened my car door. "But to a grown man, that is a wife." His expression twisted. "You cannot leave me here." "You demanded freedom. Now you have it." My phone connected to the car's Bluetooth. A message appeared on the dashboard from Adrian, a pediatrician I had met at a friend's dinner 2 weeks earlier. "Dinner is almost ready. Bring wine." Caleb saw the name. He saw my smile. He saw the life he expected to pause for him, continuing without him. I started the engine. "You have Miami, the gym, and all the excitement you wanted," I said. "Congratulations, Caleb. You won." Then I drove away, leaving him alone beneath the concrete lights. Driving away from Caleb should have felt triumphant. Instead, it felt quiet. The concrete parking garage disappeared behind me while Adrian's message remained on the dashboard. "Dinner is almost ready. Bring wine." Such an ordinary sentence. No crisis, no manipulation, no hidden demand. I stopped at a small grocery store and bought a bottle of Cabernet. By the time I reached Adrian's apartment, my hands had stopped shaking. He opened the door wearing an old university sweatshirt and holding a wooden spoon. "You look like you have had an interesting evening." "That is one word for it." He did not interrogate me. He poured the wine, placed dinner on the table, and waited until I was ready to speak. When I told him about Caleb appearing in the garage, Adrian listened without turning it into a competition. "He asked to come home," I said. "What did you say?" "That there was no home left for him." Adrian nodded. "Good." That was all. No performance, no speech about protecting me, just respect for the choice I had already made. The following morning, Robert called. He had heard about the confrontation because Caleb appeared at his house afterward, furious and demanding access to the condo. "He said you humiliated him," Robert told me. "I refused to rescue him. That is humiliation to someone who believes help is guaranteed." Robert sounded exhausted. He had repossessed the car after Caleb missed another payment. He also refused to let Caleb move back into the family home unless he agreed to work full-time, attend counseling, and repay part of what Robert had covered over the years. Caleb refused. "He says I am choosing you over my own son," Robert said. "I do not want to come between you." "You did not. The truth did." Several weeks passed. Caleb's messages continued through unfamiliar numbers. Some were angry. "You ruined my relationship with Dad." Some were sentimental. "Remember our first apartment?" Others were practical. "I need access to the storage unit. Some of my things are missing." I forwarded anything important to Robert and deleted the rest. The strangest message came from Kayla. "I know you hate me, but Caleb lied to everyone. He told us you were controlling and that you had already broken up. I would never have agreed to share a room if I knew the truth." I read it twice. Perhaps she believed it. Perhaps she was protecting herself. Either way, she was not my problem. I blocked her. My life continued becoming larger. The promotion placed me in charge of a major infrastructure project. I began mentoring younger engineers, especially women who were often expected to remain agreeable while men took credit for their work. I recognized that pattern too well. Adrian and I took things slowly. He introduced me to his parents during a Sunday lunch. There were no secret labels or confusing explanations. "This is Carrie," he said. "She is the engineer I told you about." His mother smiled. "The one rebuilding the hospital power system?" Adrian had spoken about my work when I was not present, with pride. The realization nearly broke my heart in the gentlest way. 3 months after the breakup, Robert invited me to coffee. He placed an envelope on the table. Inside was a check for the amount I had paid toward Caleb's canceled flight, several household expenses, and part of the security deposit. "I cannot repay everything my son took from you," he said, "but I can return what should never have been your burden." "You do not owe me." "No, but I owe myself the chance to do the honorable thing." I accepted the check. Not because I needed the money, because refusing would have denied Robert the accountability Caleb still avoided. Before we left, Robert said Caleb had finally taken a job with one of his construction crews. "Entry level," he added. "No family title, no special treatment." "How is he handling it?" "Poorly." Despite myself, I smiled. Consequences usually feel unfair to people who have never experienced them. Robert laughed for the first time that afternoon. Then his expression became serious. "He still believes you will come back eventually." "He is wrong." "I know." That evening, I stood in my new apartment surrounded by unopened boxes. Adrian was helping assemble a dining table when my phone lit up with another unknown number. Caleb had sent one photograph. It showed him wearing a construction vest, standing beside Robert's truck. The message beneath it read, "I am changing. Maybe now you can respect me again." I looked at the screen. Caleb still believed my respect was a prize he could earn, just enough to regain access to everything I had provided. He had not learned that change performed for an audience was only another kind of manipulation. I deleted the message. Then I returned to the table Adrian was building. For the first time, I was helping create a home where loyalty was mutual, honesty was ordinary, and nobody needed an ultimatum to understand respect. Caleb's photograph remained deleted. For several weeks, I heard nothing from him. The silence felt different from the earlier quiet. Before, I had expected another message, another burner number, another attempt to turn his consequences into my responsibility. Now, I stopped expecting anything. My life had moved beyond the point where Caleb's regret could change its direction. The hospital infrastructure project became the largest assignment of my career. The deadlines were brutal, but the work mattered. We were replacing an outdated electrical system without interrupting critical care areas. For the first time, I understood why people called meaningful work fulfilling. Nobody on my team mocked me for being careful. Nobody called preparation boring. Every safety check Caleb once would have rolled his eyes at could protect a patient's life. The traits he treated as weaknesses were the reasons people trusted me. Adrian understood that immediately. He never complained when I stayed late at the office. He brought dinner when I forgot to eat and left it with the receptionist without demanding attention in return. One evening, after a 14-hour shift, I found him waiting outside with 2 coffees. "You did not have to come," I said. "I know." "Then why are you here?" "Because I wanted to see you." The simplicity of it almost hurt. For 4 years, Caleb had made every act of support feel transactional. Adrian helped because he cared, not because he expected future access to my money, home, or labor. 6 months after the breakup, Robert invited Adrian and me to dinner. I hesitated before accepting. Robert had never blamed me for what happened, but he was still Caleb's father. I did not want Adrian placed in the middle of unfinished family tension. Adrian squeezed my hand. "We can leave whenever you want." That sentence gave me enough courage to go. Robert prepared dinner himself. The food was simple, and the house felt quieter than I remembered. Halfway through the meal, he mentioned Caleb. "He moved into a small apartment," Robert said. "He is still working construction." I nodded. "He complains less now." "That sounds like progress." "It might be." Robert looked at me carefully. "He asked whether you were serious about Adrian." I glanced beside me. "I am." Robert smiled faintly. "I told him your life was no longer his business." Adrian did not gloat. He only reached beneath the table and rested his hand over mine. After dinner, Robert walked us to the door. Before I left, he said, "Caleb losing you may be the first consequence strong enough to change him." I hope he changes. Robert seemed surprised. "You do?" "Yes. I just do not need to witness it." That was the difference between forgiveness and access. I no longer hated Caleb. Hatred required attention, and I had better places to put mine. A few months later, the hospital project was completed successfully. My company held a small celebration. Adrian attended and introduced himself to everyone as my boyfriend without hesitation. When my manager praised my leadership, Adrian looked prouder than if the achievement had belonged to him. That night, we returned to my apartment and ate leftover cake from paper plates. "This place is starting to feel like home," he said. I looked around. The dining table we had assembled together stood near the window. My engineering books filled one shelf. Adrian had left a small plant beside the kitchen sink, claiming every home needed something alive growing inside it. "It does," I said. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. For a moment, I considered ignoring it completely. Then I opened the message. It was from Caleb. "I know you do not owe me anything. I wanted to say I am sorry. Not because Miami went badly. Not because Dad stopped rescuing me. I am sorry because I used your loyalty as proof that I could disrespect you without losing you. I was wrong. You do not need to answer." I read the message twice. There was no request to meet, no claim that he had changed enough to deserve me, no demand for closure. Perhaps he had finally begun understanding. I did not reply, not because I wanted to punish him, because his apology did not require a reward. I deleted the message and returned to the kitchen. Adrian looked up from the plates. "Everything okay?" "Yes." This time, it was completely true. Caleb once called me boring because I paid bills, planned ahead, and believed loyalty mattered. He wanted excitement without responsibility, freedom without consequences, and a devoted woman waiting at home while he tested every boundary. When he gave me two choices, he believed both kept him in control. Accept the betrayal, or lose him. He never imagined I could choose myself. Option 3 was not revenge. It was walking away from an ultimatum designed to make my dignity negotiable. It was showing the truth to the people being deceived. It was refusing to finance my own humiliation. It was building a life where love did not come with hidden group chats, borrowed credit cards, or threats disguised as freedom. My name is Carrie S. Cabrera. I am loyal. I am careful. I am stable. To Caleb, those qualities were boring. To Adrian, they are part of the woman he loves. And to me, they are the foundation of a life I will never again allow someone else to gamble away. Caleb offered two choices. I chose the only one that gave me peace. I chose myself.